Hola, hola, j'espère que vous allez tous bien. My name is Kiramai, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I no longer choose to spend my money on in my 20s and as a Christian woman. Ever since I decided to kind of pivot and dedicate my life to Christ, I've been a lot more intentional with how I've been stewarding the money that I'm given. So if that's you and you'd like to be a better steward of your money and to be a better manager and more responsible person overall, then keep on watching. I am by no means a financial advisor or anything of the sort. These are things that have helped me and that I will continue to be implementing in my life. But without further ado, let's get on to the video. So the first thing that I choose no longer to spend my money on are concerts, specifically celebrity concerts. I used to be a music fanatic. I used to be a music junkie, and it was borderline an idol. And I know everybody calls everything an idol nowadays. Everybody's idolizing everything. But in reality, I genuinely did put my love and my appreciation and reverence for music and musicians above God. I couldn't spend a single day without being bombarded with music. I'm the type of person that you will always see with earbuds in, listening to music, or having my speaker on. There were always moments where I was listening to music. Going to a concert was listening to music on a regular day, but to the 10x. So to me, it just was such an amazing moment to be able to witness the greatness of an artist in person and to be surrounded by a sea of people who were also huge fans of the music. But I came to realize that that was very much a form of worship. You finally see this artist that you've pedestalized for years on end that almost seemed superhuman or godlike. Realizing that I was spending my hard-earned money, money that I begged on my knees to God for, on people who oftentimes didn't glorify God, who even blasphemed God, to me was a great revelation. Whenever I'd spend my money, it wouldn't always just be like a $50 here. I would spend hundreds of dollars to attend an artist's concert. But again, I realized that using the money that I pray to God for to go see artists that are doing the very opposite of what it is that I would like to do for myself, which is praise and worship and to glorify God, it didn't feel right anymore. And even my relationship with music and the artists that I listened to changed a lot over time, and it wasn't easy. I remember being in the car with a friend, and this was before I was saved, and I remember her telling me, I don't listen to any secular music. To me, not listening to the artists that I grew up on, the artists that I had this deep reverence for, to me, just, it sounded almost impossible. Music was such a large and significant part of my life and my day-to-day that I couldn't fathom it. So when she told me this, it's something that really stuck with me, because I think back of how impossible it almost felt to not listen to these artists' music, let alone go to their concerts once in a while to really enjoy it in person. But here I am, and like I said, I choose to spend my money much more wisely. I choose not to give these people money. I wasn't all that mindful about filtering the kind of message that I was listening to when I was listening to these songs. That's not to say that I won't go to a jazz festival or some sort of musical event. I will go to like outdoor concerts, but I won't go in reverence to an artist. Similarly to what I was saying about the music thing, I no longer go to clubs. I wouldn't pay to go to a club. I wouldn't pay to go to a day party or what have you if there's an entry fee, or even if there isn't. Even if it's free, I'm not going. It's not my vibe. It's not something that I'm interested in. And that's because the music that's played includes music that I don't listen to anymore. Even if the message isn't as crass as what you see and hear nowadays, I still feel like it's very important for me to be mindful of the things that I ingest. I really want to be firm with what I pay attention to, what I put my money towards, and the club is just not one of them. And day parties as well, because just because it's in the daytime doesn't mean that they're not playing club music. They're playing the same artists, the same songs over and over again. It's just that it's the day and people are drunk in the daytime as opposed to at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not my vibe. It's not something that I'm interested in, and it's not something I'm going to put my money towards. And relative to that is recreational candy, if we can put it that way, whether it be magic mushrooms or edibles or whatever else. It's something that is far behind me because I'm renewed and transformed, and I genuinely just don't have an interest in doing any of those things. I can do life sober, praise God. And unfortunately, the pandemic was a very hard time, and I know that there are a lot of people who have developed just coping mechanisms to be able to handle the difficulties that they were going through psychologically and otherwise. I highly recommend that you slowly but surely reduce your intake or your consumption of these things if it's something that you would consider a vice or something that you would consider to be a guilty pleasure, just because it really does eat up your money. The more money you spend on weed, the more money you spend on cigarettes or whatever else, it truly does chip away at your savings. And you could be balling outrageous. At the end of the day, you're hurting yourself physically, psychologically even, because the effects of it aren't all that positive. They might be decent or great in the moment, but long term, what are you doing to yourself? But if you have a history of either psychosis or mental health in the family, and you're dealing and dabbling in these drugs, which are oftentimes tampered with, because the fentanyl, let me not even get into that. It's very dangerous, okay? Let me just put it that way. And it's not worth it to risk your health, short-term or long-term, for a very fleeting moment of satisfaction and euphoria. So the next thing that I simply would not spend my money on in my 20s and moving forward is Immodest clothing. Modesty and the topic surrounding modesty is very widespread, and modesty is somewhat relative, but there are definitely some things that you shouldn't do, or you shouldn't go out the house a naked mole rat. Like, you just shouldn't. I just simply don't want to spend my money on the kind of clothing that would be a false representation of who I am. I think that it's really great that there are some clothing brands, specifically gym clothing brands, that are catering to the clientele that are looking for more modest clothing, more covered up attire, just because not everybody wants to wear short shorts, scrunch butt leggings that is so widely available and accessible. I really appreciate that, and that's just something that, to me, I find is really cool, being able to dress myself in a modest way, in a way that's classy and that's appropriate regardless of where I'm at. Again, it's a topic that's debated. Some people can think that this is, for example, too much chest and I should be covered up to here. It's definitely somewhat subjective. I do think that there's a level of discernment that needs to be had, but I do also think that it's great to be able to have that option now and to not feel like I need to succumb to wearing ripped up, chewed up, spat out leggings and shirts and dresses. And you know what? That's another topic, because to find a regular, a classic long sleeve, short sleeve, quarter sleeve tee without it being cropped, everything is cropped, everything is cut up, everything is torn to shreds. Basta, enough. And the next subject or thing that I no longer spend my money on unnecessarily is makeup / anything having to do with overconsumption. I just think that the makeup that I have is more than sufficient, and I just think that women in general are so susceptible to constantly overconsuming and purchasing more and more and more. I have tried and succeeded up until this point. I have 100% success rate. I do not succumb to having to purchase another rare beauty blush because I don't need it. All I do is actually have fun with it and be creative and mix my blush with my concealer because it's a liquid blush. I don't ever fill in my eyebrows, but if I did, I would use my eyebrow pencil as my lip liner, because what you use for eyebrows usually has like good longevity, whereas whatever I use for my lips, honey, it does not last. Regardless, I just think that it's so much more fun to be able to be more creative with my makeup. I don't buy concealers out the wazoo. I don't buy blushes and powders and what have you out the wazoo either. I get way more bang for my buck when I can use something for multiple things and not just one specific thing. If I can help it, I'm gonna stretch it out until I can't no more. I try my best not to rely on the need to buy the latest this, the latest that. It's easier to do so when you're less on social media and when you're not constantly bombarded with that on your timeline, like things that you need to buy. You can't live without this. Stop what you're doing and go get this. Like, I'm not gonna feed into those marketing schemes and tactics. I have more than enough and I have more than what I need. So to spend more money and to have to store all of these things, which means that I would have to buy more things in which I could store those products that I buy. It's a never-ending cycle. It's not worth it, and it's a headache. Now, to twist things around a little bit, the things that I do choose to spend my money on nowadays is, first of all, music lessons. So I've been taking up the harp the past, has it been 6 months? I don't know. But I started earlier this year, and as a result, I have nubs. So I have not gotten my nails done in so long. And that's just a me thing. Like, I could definitely paint them at least, but I don't bother, because first of all, harp lessons are expensive. The harp in itself, Google the price of a harp, 32, 34 string harp or whatever string harp, they're expensive. So I just decided that I wanted to use the money that I would have used for manicures and pedicures and whatever other maintenance, and either do it at home or just forego it altogether and decide to build up a skill. So music lessons and learning how to read sheet music and learning to play the harp has been very rewarding for me, and that's something that I genuinely take pleasure in. But yeah, no nails for me, because you can't pluck strings with long nails, and my nails grow so fast. So anytime my instructor is just like, yeah, your nails are catching, I'm like, I cut them already. But yeah, I just think that I've saved so much money. I've made such better use of my money now that I'm able to say that I'm building a skill. I don't have a background in music, but it's been fun and it's been great, and I've been having a jolly old time. But moving on from that, the next thing that I would say that I am very, very adamant about, and that has a very large importance in my life, is tithing and offering. So I have a very good church. I hope you do too if you go to church. But to me, it's been very important to be able to pour back into the church because they've done so much for me and they've contributed and helped me in so many ways that I made it a point to take out money on a regular basis. I've been very keen on being a good steward of my money in that way, in that regard, and giving back the money that God gave me, because I wouldn't have been able to give God the money if he didn't give me money first. So I'm giving back what I owe him, which is a measly 10%. I just feel like it's been a great blessing to be able to give this year. I would say that I've given the most that I've ever given. The saying, give cheerfully, give joyfully. Is that the saying? Either way, I give with joy, and I don't ever feel like it's a burden to give money to the church. I don't ever feel like I'm being scammed or I'm being conned, because I can see how the church is giving back and pouring back. And if you don't have a relationship, I think that at least giving back to people who are in need would be a great way to be a good steward of your money. Also, food drives, giving money to refugee centers or whatever community is in need, kind of look into that and see in which ways you can contribute and give a little something, even $10 a month or $5 a month. I think that would be something to definitely look into, and I highly encourage it. And on that note, the next thing that I've been able to do with the money that I'm given is saving. I want to be able to know that the money that is coming in is staying in, but also going out when it needs to. I'm not depriving myself of the joys of life. Just because I don't go to celebrities' concerts doesn't mean that I don't spend good time with friends or go to other events. It simply means that I'm choosing to redirect the money that I would have spent on things that are not fruitful and putting it towards things that are more beneficial for me in the long term. And with that being said, another thing that I choose to spend my money on, things that are functional. Like I was saying earlier, things that have multi-use or multi-purpose use out of it, or things that I can get multi-purpose use out of. There you go, English, yes. Just buy things that are gonna help you build, that are functional, that can help you be productive, whether it be a planner. That's not really multi-purpose use though. Either, whatever, get whatever you need, knowing that it's not money lost. It's not a liability, instead it's an asset. There you go, I should have just said that. Yeah, so invest in assets, invest in things that will appreciate in the long run and help you to build something bigger. And I think I briefly mentioned this, but the last thing that I can think of that I would say is, and has been a good investment, is a capsule wardrobe, and keeping the colors that I have in my wardrobe at this point basic. Regular white tees, white shirts, white long sleeve sweaters, black, creams, beiges, whatever. But I do love red. I do love a good turquoise. I do love a nice pink, green, orange, yellow. I love colors. But I do think that it's important that I have basics first, and then I can spruce things up a little bit more with accessories, with bags and jewelry and what have you, scarves and stuff like that. But I do really think that it's been a game changer for me when I've started to invest in more basic pieces first, knowing that the pieces that I have, regardless of, where I got them from, are appropriate. It's the epitome of being a grown woman, knowing to really dress well and to be able to do that modestly. Because I've been striving for simple yet classy pieces, and that's definitely been a game changer for me. So letting go of the things that you find joy in isn't the goal, but letting go of the things that have prompted you to spend money on your vices is what I'm suggesting and what I recommend. These are the things that have helped me tremendously in being a better steward of my money, being more mindful, being more financially savvy, and a lot more intelligent. And also, because I don't always succumb to my impulses, I'm a lot more disciplined, and not just in this area, but in other areas as well. Delaying your gratification and waiting for an opportune moment to purchase the shoes that you want that cost your salary or something for the week or the month. I don't know. You can do what you want, but being mindful of how you spend your money in your 20s is a testament to maturity and to growth. So I hope this was helpful, and I thank you so much for watching. If you've gotten this far into the video, please like, comment, subscribe. This is kind of like off the top of my head, but if I missed anything, let me know if there are any other things that you've done that have helped you with being a better steward of your money, being more financially responsible. On se verra à la prochaine. Bye.